No, you don't need to close every lead. You don't need to close every qualified lead. But what you do need to do is stop caring. This episode will be going into the number one question you need to ask yourself during every consult, discovery, intro call, whatever you want to call it, right? In order for you to calmly and confidently grow your business and experience full-time entrepreneurship. Before we go into more of this show, let's talk about, some of you are slightly new, right? So welcome. You're listening to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon with yours truly, Vanessa Zammy, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, live on Facebook and LinkedIn. I consult business owners on how to revive, grow, and scale their business, purpose-driven business, without overwhelm, without burnout, and without sleep deprivation. I remember in the beginning of my business, I was trying to convince everyone. Right? A couple of years ago, I was trying to convince everyone. Right? I was saying yes to everyone. I was like, yes, I can work with this person. I can work with that person. They just yes, yes, yes. Right? So whoever said that they want to work with me, I was like, yes, let's work together. Let's work together. And thank goodness that only lasted 3 months, because it was during those 3 months that I noticed a pattern. I saw the toll on myself, and you may be realizing this to yourself, for yourself, right? In terms of, you're saying yes to everyone, saying yes to every lead, saying yes to, everyone who comes and approaches you. Well, it's time to say no to business that is counterproductive. And we'll be going into what to do instead, and the questions you need to be asking yourself during every call, right? And maybe you experiencing this right now. Maybe you have a current client or customer who's annoying you, or several of them. But maybe you recently experienced this and you find yourself almost trying to itch back into that cycle of every lead that comes must be closed, right? Well, no more. Before we go into that, every episode, I always talk about your win of the week, right? So what's been your win of the week? Let's talk on a happy note, and then we're going to go into the real stuff and go back into ensuring that you are moving your business calmly and confidently. So what has been your win of the week? Type it in the chat or the comments, depending on if you're watching on YouTube, right? After the subscribe button that you see there, hit that, and then put in the comments what has been your win of the week. If you're watching on Facebook and LinkedIn, put hashtag replay, and then input what has been your win of the week, right? So my win of the week, before we go to this, my win of the week has been my client success, right? And it's always my client success. I always find such great pleasure and joy in that. But I remember a time when it wasn't, right? I remember a time when, it's not even so much that my clients were successful, but it was, sure, my clients were successful, but I didn't feel successful in helping them, so to speak. And it's because I was doing this thing of just saying yes to every lead, right? Saying yes to everyone who came in my direction. And what ended up happening was that I was not prioritizing my well-being. And what ended up happening was that, thank goodness it only lasted 3 months. We're going to talk about why that ended up happening, why it only lasted 3 months. For some people, they get in this sort of pattern for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years within their business, where you're just saying yes to every lead. And what happens is that you just start hating your business, and ultimately you start hating your life, right? Because you have that person who's just stressing out, that person who you're worried about is going to sue you, right? Or the person who you think is going to, who calls you about random things, or that person who's calling you at times that you don't want to be called, or the person who, they're not doing the work that they need to do, or the person who just doesn't show up, or the person with a bad attitude, they're just being rude, right? And you're experiencing a lot of those people, or even just one person like that messes up your entire day, right? Messes up your week. It messes up how you decide, or if you decide to even show up for your business, for other leads, for other clients, for other customers, because of that one bad apple, right? That you let seep in because you just had to close every lead. And what happens, right? How do you even get to that state? Before we figure out how to even solve and ensure that we solve that state, let's really talk about the real reason of how you even got to that state of, I need to close everyone. The real reason is mainly what I typically see when people get to the stage of really wanting to close everyone and saying yes to everyone, and they end up with a bad client or customer. And part of it was also where I was at, right, in the beginning of my business as well too. But it's sort of a financial stress point. And it's sort of there's like a level of desperation, a level of perceived need of, everyone is important, everyone is relevant, I must close everyone because there's going to be no one else. And so even if there's someone who you may have like a bad feeling about, right, you decide, It's okay. It's whatever. I just need to close them. Just get their money and I will, figure it out, right? Whatever it may be that you're thinking. And so you close them. You decide to take them on as a client or a customer. And then you kind of just end up spending the next, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it may be, working with that person when it wasn't a right fit to begin with. Because at the end of the day, that intro call, discovery call, whatever it is a two-way street. It should be a two-way street. I'm going to go into the question that you should be asking, in order to ensure that during every conversation, you keep it a two-way street, right? Because that's what it comes down to when it comes to your business, right? It has to be a two-way street during the intro calls, discovery calls, whatever it may be. And for me, thankfully, I only had this whole debacle last for 3 months, and I had a few people, not more than one, on more than one occasion where I was working with essentially a client or clients essentially that just weren't the right fit. They weren't the right fit to even begin with. But I said, oh, I must close every lead, right? Or they're qualified, except there's one piece that they were missing. And that we're going to go into here in the next couple of minutes. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be going to the number one question and what you need to have happen. I'm going to take a quick break. What I'm going to do is a special announcement. So I believe I know some things about you in your current situation. I know that you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you're struggling, you're discouraged, right? You dream of becoming a calm and confident full-time entrepreneur with abundant time and financial freedom. Currently, perhaps you're focused on leaving your demanding corporate job and growing your business. Or maybe you're just focused on just growing your business, right? But let me ask you a question. Would you be ecstatic if you could increase your revenue, be more consistent with your marketing and social media, and get more time to work on your business and be more productive? Because if you could do those things, ultimately, that would mean you could make a difference in your community, city, state, country, or world. And if you're looking to do those things, we have an upcoming masterclass, actually 2 of them happening this week. So head on over to yourbusinessrevival.com. We're going to all things. The complete business revival system will be revealed for overwhelmed entrepreneurs. I'll be going to how to grow your purpose-driven business without burnout, without sleep deprivation, and without meditation. We'll be going into, there's so much more to unpack rather than this topic in the episode, beyond this topic and episode. And so essentially what you're going to do, head to the link, yourbusinessrevival.com, and you'll be able to sign up for the upcoming masterclass. And there are a couple dates that are there. So once you hit, register, you'll see the select the date option. You'll be able to see the date for, these are live, right? These are live classes. So you'll get, essentially once you sign up, you'll get access to the private Zoom link to hop on and join us and really understand how to find time to do it all, understand how to unstuck your income, understand how to ensure that your marketing is running efficiently so that you can ensure that you're growing an online presence. And we're going into so much more than that. But with that being said, let's go back into the topic here this evening, right? How to stop saying no to business that is counterproductive. Now, for the last few years, and even today, right? What I say, if you are reading my messages, or even if you're reading a post I've had where I'm saying, hey, let's connect together. Let's see if we're the right fit. What do I say? If we are the right fit. Let's see if we are the right. If and we, right? 2 important words there. If we are the right fit. Right? Because it is a two-way street when it comes to having a conversation with your lead, right? And they are looking to see if you're the right fit. But at the same time, you should be asking yourself, do I want to work with this person? And that is the question. Ask yourself, do I want to work with this person? Because yes, maybe they reached out to you via message. Maybe they filled out some application form, right? Some questionnaire. And so you understand more about them, but they qualify in terms of, maybe they meet the industry that you're looking to work with. Maybe they're in the town that you specialize in. Maybe they're looking for help in what you specialize in. But the question I want you to ask yourself at every call, every conversation is, do I want to work with that person, right? Do you want to work with that person who's on the phone? Think about that. Do I want to work with that person? That is the question you need to ask yourself. Because I know, for example, that I'm not for everyone. And chances are that you and your business, you're not for everyone. And no, everyone is not for me, right? And everyone is not for me. Everyone is not for you, right? They're for somebody that is not for me, not for you, right? It's kind of like love, finding love, right? Not everyone is for you, and you are not for everyone. And that is okay when it comes to business. That is more than okay, right? You don't want to work with clients and customers who are going to bother you. You don't work with clients and customers who are going to make your life miserable on a daily, hourly, weekly basis, right? You don't want to work with people who are going to keep you up at night negatively. right? If anything, if you're up at night, it should be because of you. It shouldn't be because of someone else, right? I think of it as, even you may have heard of this when you were, in the beginning of your business, or when you're thinking about, making a life transformation, and people talk about, toxic relationships, right? And sort of cutting ties with people and ending toxic relationships. But that a relationship that you have with that client or customer who you don't want to work with, that's a toxic relationship. But instead of having to deal with that, think about, how do you prevent that? And it starts with that question. When you're on the call with that person, it starts with that question that you should be asking yourself, right? Every conversation, you should be seeing, do you want to work with this person? Right? Yes, they are trying to see if you're the right fit for them, but you are also trying to see if they're the right fit for you, right? It's a two-way street, a two-way relationship. Because you see, what I know, for example, right? What I started essentially, and part of this, what I saw myself was this affirmation was, I know that I am the best solution for the person looking for customized support with their business, right? I'm the best solution for the person looking for the service that I provide. I'm the best solution for the person looking for customized strategic support for their business, and not some cookie cutter or half-baked strategy that everyone else is getting. And I learned what my criteria was when it came to, okay, but Vanessa, you're probably like, but Vanessa, how do I figure out like who I want to work with, right? Or how do I understand better about, if this person's the right fit? Right? And so, like, for me, I feel like I got the criteria by seeing patterns, right? So I didn't see patterns during that whole 3-month time frame. Thankfully, only last 3 months, but I started to see that a pattern during that 3-month time frame a few years ago, where, sort of like, what were the characteristics of those people that were kind of making them not a fit for me, so to speak, right? Now, yes, maybe, like, yes, could I help them? Absolutely. But were they the fit to work best with me, right? Were they the fit of people who could really optimize and get the most out of the work that we were doing together, the work that we could do together, right? And 3 of those instances, the answer was actually no. But it was through seeing those patterns that I was then able to understand the criteria of people who I actually want to work with, or who I was essentially a fit to work with when it came down to really helping them to leverage my hustle and breathe framework. Right? And like, for example, for that person who wants to enjoy their business and their life, I'm that right fit. For that person who doesn't want stress, I'm that right fit. For the person who's like, I don't mind staying up and only sleeping 2 hours a night, I don't mind not spending time with my family and friends, that person's not the right fit, right? For that person who's at the stage of their, life where they still have life things to work out before they even talk about business, I'm not the right fit. I recommend them to someone else who is the right fit, right? Because I believe that, they shouldn't come on the phone call with me and not get any solution, right? I'm all about helping people, ensuring that they get the help that they need. But that doesn't mean that I sign them up to be a client. What it means is I listen to them, understand their problem. The solution may be to work with me. The solution may be to refer them to someone else who I know. But what I'm not going to do is put myself in the position where I take someone on as a client and, it just ends up being a whole disaster. I know what that's like, and I'm not trying to go back there, okay? So what I know is who's the right fit to work with me, right? So the question you need to ask yourself is, what are those patterns of those clients and customers who you're seeing aren't the right fit? And how could you have prevented starting that relationship to begin with, right? And it's difficult, right? It's difficult in terms of really understanding, how do you really say no to every lead? How do you say no to every qualified lead, right? They qualified on paper. They met all the check boxes on paper. But when you had that call with them, you had that funny feeling. Listen to that feeling, right? It's okay to say no to business that's counterproductive. I mean, it's okay to say no to business that is counterproductive. Because here's the thing, it's counterproductive. Say no to counterproductivity, right? Say yes to productivity. Say no to counterproductivity. You don't want business that's counterproductive. And taking on that client or customer who's only going to stress you out is going to be counterproductive, right? And so ensuring that during every conversation, when you're assessing who to say yes to, when you're assessing who to support with your services, right? When you're assessing who to, invite to different spaces that you're creating, whatever it may be, when you're assessing who should be, your beta launch or the people on your next launch team, really think about, do you want to even work with this person? Do you even want this person in your sphere? And if that answer is no, now does not mean that a person's a bad person, right? Some people in some cases, yes, they are just like a bad person, not ready for help. But in some cases, it's just that person, you two just aren't the right fit, right? Based on where they are. For example, for me, for people who are based on where people are in their business stage, I may not be the right fit for them. They're not the right fit for me, right? But essentially, I have developed a network of people who I can send them off to and say, hey, we're not the right fit to work together, but here you go, right? Here's someone who you may, want to consider talking to. Here's someone else as well too, right? And ensure that you get the help that you need. But we're not the right fit to work together. And I'm okay with saying that because I know that my right fits are out there, right? You need to understand and believe that your right fits are out there. It's okay to say no to that lead. It's okay to say no to that qualified lead, right? In quotes, qualified, right? Because you want to ensure that you're enjoying your business and enjoying your life, and you don't want to have those stressful clients and customers. You just don't want it, right? If you've already had it, you don't want it anymore. And if you're going through it right now, make sure you don't go through it again by asking yourself that question: do I actually want to work with this person? Right? If you're looking for more ways to be more efficient and effective when it comes to running your business, if you're looking to grow your purpose-driven business without burnout, sleep deprivation, or overwhelm, then I want you to check out my masterclass, upcoming masterclass, The Complete Business Revival System for Overwhelmed Entrepreneurs. Sign up. The link at the bottom of the screen called yourbusinessrevival.com. That's yourbusinessrevival.com. Type it into your browser, copy, paste it from the comments. And I look forward to seeing you at the next class. Until then, see you next Tuesday live on Facebook and LinkedIn every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Chat soon.